So now we'll move over to the Mesa City Council study session for May 8th, 2025. Councilmember Spilsbury is excused from this meeting. All other council members are present. Item 1 is review the agenda we have for Monday, May 12th, and let's go through that agenda. Council, do you have any questions on Monday's council meeting?
I'll ask a quick one.
Vice Mayor.
5A for accepting CDB, well, we're not accepting, I'm sorry, this is a submission of a plan for the 5-year plan.
We're receiving, yeah.
Or is it receiving? Okay.
Yeah, this is after the process. It's been the 30, well, how long was it? We put out the initial proposal and now it's, I forget how many days it's been since we did that.
Would you, just, I'll make it quick, if you could just summarize it for us. And
Yes,
then,
absolutely.
And then address the first draft of the president's budget, I believe zeroes out some of these programs. I don't expect that that's gonna be maintained, but I want to just make sure that we're not caught in any contracts and that we have a process should the amount we receive be far lower than what we've requested.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor. As Chris mentioned, we started this funding process back in September of last year, so it is a fairly long process to get all these applications done, and then this year we had to do that 5-year consolidated plan as well. In terms of the federal budget, so what is proposed in front of you today is based on level funding from our previous year. So for fiscal year 25-26, that would begin in July. Now the budget that Vice Mayor was mentioning that was just released, it's the draft budget from the president, is suggesting cuts to some of the community development programs. But that would be effective, if that were the case, for the following fiscal year, which would begin in July of 26.
Okay. I'm having some technical issues over here. I can't see any of them.
So Michelle, currently, I mean, if monies are appropriated to CDBG dollars, I mean, we have the funding capacity to move those pass-through dollars through to the current budget today.
Well,
so we have those monies today or not?
I think Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong, I think, because the federal government is on a different fiscal year than we are.
Okay.
So I think, Michelle, what you're saying is that what the president's budget would be in effect wouldn't be until, wouldn't include this, what's being approved here.
That is
correct. It'd be the
correct.
subsequent process. And by then we would have a sense of kind of what's been able to survive or not survive through that process. But it not necessarily wouldn't affect what's been proposed here that the council reviewed a month ago. Is that correct?
That is correct, Chris.
So and then again, these are all emergency social service safety nets and programs in the city. It's just if these programs and services don't get done, the question becomes the council is like, so what happens if these safety nets are removed from our community? But it doesn't affect what's being proposed here in front of council. It would be the next round of processes. So when you're having those discussions next year, maybe there'll be more information about the federal process and what's available.
Thank you. That answers my question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Brady, so what is the fiscal year for the federal government?
Is it like October 1?
I can answer
It's
that.
October? Oh,
It
that's
begins
odd.
October 1st. So the continuing resolution that was passed a month ago
Was from
is for the beginning of this fiscal year, which would start for them October, but starts for us July.
Okay, thank you.
So have we already received these funds, or do we already have the funds?
Mayor, Councilmember Goforth, we do not have the funds at this time. So all I know at this point is that the continuing resolution funded programs at the same level as the previous year. And we are supposed to find out from HUD by May 13th on what the exact allocation is. So as we developed the plan, we did put contingencies in here, and we mentioned to council that if there is a minor change, then we can go ahead and adjust that accordingly. If it's a very large change, which I'm not anticipating, but if it is, we would most likely need to come back to council.
And I can't remember, this is not a scenario where we are reimbursed.
Yeah, no, that's.
Oh, it is.
See, it's not
Yes.
like,
Okay.
it's not like ARPA.
Yeah.
Where it just shows up.
Yeah. Okay.
And we have to spend it down. You know, after, Michelle talked about, after the council approves this, then you go back and start working with the different agencies and developing the contracts.
That is correct,
And then
yes.
they go through and start executing the programs, project services, and then they seek reimbursement
Yes.
that you have to approve from the federal government. So there's even that kind of a gap. And that's a lot of times why we talk about the sophistication and the need to have fairly large nonprofits who are participating in this, because it is a reimbursement program. It's not, Michelle doesn't send them a check once they sign the contract. They then have to perform and submit for reimbursement of services.
Correct. They are
But of
required
funds
to do that.
they've spent, not that we've
Correct. Well, correct.
given
Although
to
there
them
are
and then
some
we get
programs in
reimbursed.
here, services, right, that are being executed by the city too.
For sure.
But not,
Okay.
not the whole
No.
program,
Okay.
right, yeah.
That's, I understand. Thank you.
Those, even city programs are based on reimbursement. All of the grants that our division manages are reimbursement based.
Mr. Adams?
So it sounds to me like if for whatever reason the federal government said, we're not sending you a dime, the city isn't on the hook for anything, correct? Or what,
No,
or
but
what
you-
is our
Well, we
liability?
will if we're, because we are just like, I forget all the programs, the housing rehab program, let's just use that as an example. So we are executing that program in-house. So we will go out, identify an individual who has needs for an ADA ramp, a variety of things that are needed. We may go do that work and then seek reimbursement. So we'd be out that. The nonprofits are doing the same. They're providing shelter services and variety, whatever services that are needed. Once they do that, they then submit reimbursement to Michelle. Then she processes it, approves it, and then it goes through. It's an all electronic process, so it can happen fairly quickly. But if for some reason, and I think that's why she's waiting till May. Once they kind of tell us the number, the federal government realizes there are way too many nonprofits out there spending money, so they've got to have that clarity. So I think once we have that number, we'll feel good about this next year.
That's correct. And we won't execute contracts until we have the final funding allocation from HUD. Usually they send us a letter. It's been different this year. So, but we will nonetheless find out our allocation here in the next week or so, hopefully.
So our risk is fairly low.
Once we get that authorization, I think we're fine.
Okay.
It'll be in the next year's round when the decision will be made about, well, how much is even available? The risk is really to the community and the safety net of services, because then I suggest, well, the federal government may cut those back. We may not be able to fund them. I can assure you, those nonprofits will be showing up here for the funding to come from somebody, because it will have an impact on the community.
So we'll begin the process for 26, 27, probably late summer, early fall then?
Fall, right?
Usually
Okay.
in September. I can't remember the exact date, but staff have already planned it and it begins in September.
And we'll have a pretty good idea what the federal budget looks like at that point.
Hopefully, I mean, we're watching it every day, reading, information that we get, but yes.
I love your positivity.
We should hopefully know which direction it's going in by then.
Understood. Crystal ball doesn't work anymore. Thank you.
Any other questions, council, on the agenda? Ms. Goforth.
I have a question on 4C.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle.
Nobody's here. The photo enforcement. This is really to replace outdated equipment and technology, but I did read that there's a plan for a couple of new photo enforcement sites. Is there anybody here that can speak on this?
Mayor, council member, I know PD was planning to be here this morning. We'll make sure that we follow up and
Okay,
can
yeah,
get you
because I actually
answers.
had a
Just a question about the
conversation with a
adding-
constituent last night that had a couple of claims about photo enforcement, so I just want to, I
Yeah.
want to have a conversation.
So, Councilor Goforth, or Mayor Councilor Goforth, as I read this, the priority has mostly been for photo radar is in the school zone. So I know
Yeah.
we're adding a couple new school zones, major intersections where we have maybe a lot of pedestrian conflicts or wrecks.
Yeah.
So those are kind of our Scott, that's probably the highlight of the areas that we focus on. We don't do anything in between intersections, so emphasis on school zones, emphasis on higher risk intersections, and I think the two that we're adding are for school zones.
Okay. I still have a couple follow-up questions.
Yeah, we can make sure that PD
Okay.
follows up with you to
Okay.
answer those questions.
Thank you. Not before, I mean, it doesn't need to be before this, but at some point. Thank you.
Scott, while you're sitting there, there's an intergovernmental question to this too, because I know there's been legislation proposed at the state level that might eliminate photo radar. What's the, Miranda's coming up.
Miranda's had the fun.
Yeah, what's the status on that?
Good morning, Mayor and Council. I don't know if Mr. Butler used the right adjective. I don't know if I would call it fun, but there has been activity for years on this question. The good news is the two bills that have been introduced this year, they've been stalled for about the last month or so. And the legislature did adjourn to take a break for the next couple of weeks, so there won't be any additional movement for a while, if any, for the rest of this session.
Okay, so then I guess the contract question is what happens if the state bans photo radar and we have to discontinue the program? Do we have something written into the contract?
Well, yeah, we won't be able to collect on the
fees, so
Citation,
it just
yeah.
terminates.
And that's why, if you remember, we extended the existing contract for a number of months to go back to talk about that and also to look at how the legislation was proceeding. And we did put a provision in there that allows us to terminate if it's no longer permitted.
Okay, so no rest to the general fund should that happen?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Goforth, your questions answered on 4C for now? Okay, great. Any other questions on the agenda? Okay, with that, thank you so much on that. Next, we'll hear item 2A is a presentation and discussion on current enhanced services and accomplishments of the Downtown Mesa Association, also known as DMA. Welcome, Terry,
Good morning.
Jeff, and Jimmy,
Good morning, Mayor and Council.
J and J, and
Now that we sufficiently cleared the room, Jeff McVeigh, Manager Urban Transformation. With me today is Jimmy Chiracchio, Downtown Transformation Project Manager, and I'm pleased to have Terry Medexa, CEO and Executive Director of DMA. This is our time of year where we come back to Council to talk about the annual assessments, and in advance of that, it's our opportunity and Terry's opportunity to review accomplishments over the last year and look forward into the next year. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Terry.
That's great. Good morning. Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council members. As Jeff said, my name is Terry Medexa, and I'm the President and Executive Director of the Downtown Mesa Association. I'm really happy to be here today to talk about the work of the DMA and what we have accomplished in 2024. So I have been with DMA now for about just over a year. Last time I was here, I didn't know too much, so I came and I listened and I said, I'm here and I'm happy, and I talked about my background, and now I'm a year in and I think I have a story to tell. We have taken that time, our organization has taken time to focus on getting some internal policies and controls in place. We have focused a lot on enhancing our service delivery, and I've taken the time to listen. So I've met with our city, community partners, I've talked with our business and property owners, everybody's feedback, everyone who touches downtown. I want to hear what people think. I want to hear about their ideas, concerns, comments, and wants. And now it's council's turn. I'm actually meeting with most of you, or I have met with several, and if not, I'm on calendar, so I will be to you in the next couple of weeks. And so I want to hear from all of you about downtown. You all have priorities and a vision, and I'd like to hear what you see for downtown. That will be incorporated into our work program going forward. So a little bit about the organization. The map you can see shows our district. It's 1 square mile. It goes from Broadway to University to Broadway and Country Club to Mesa. We have 4 zones. Zone 1 is in the downtown core. It's along Main. And that area is where we see the most foot traffic. And the property owners in that zone requested additional services and more frequent services, so they pay the most. And Zone 4 is on the perimeter. It's that bright blue. Zone 4 property owners said, yeah, we just want a service a couple days a week. We don't need it 7 days a week. And so they pay the least. So that's how that zone system is based. It's based on where we see the most activity, the property owners requesting and being willing to pay for that extra service, and then us going in and delivering that. One thing I want to point out, something that does make DMA different than a lot of the other nonprofit organizations is that we're not a membership program. So we are a traditional improvement district. Our property owners pay. So we don't go to our businesses and ask, for you to receive services, there's a membership that needs to be paid. Other partners of ours have membership programs. We don't want to compete with them. We don't want to dilute, and we don't want to stress our businesses. I want to be able to walk into any downtown business and be able to offer DMA services. It's not based on membership. Priorities of the district, The first one is about improving the appearance and safety of the district, and I think that is one of our most visible and measurable services that we offer. That is, with our clean team, we have a team of 5 full-time employees that are out there working to keep our district looking great, and I think you'll hear some of our stats. I think they do a great job. Working with our city partners to increase occupancy, attracting diverse new businesses. So our Main Street and our business community has variety. There's something for everybody. And just being a really vocal and loud champion for downtown. And I can be loud. I think once you get to know me and hear me, I can get to be pretty loud, and I can be a fierce champion for downtown. So I want to share a little bit about what we accomplished in 2024 by department. In last year, like I said, I came and I really focused on putting my arms around the team, figuring it out. I thought there was an opportunity for us to elevate our service delivery. I thought there were efficiencies and re-looking at some of our funding strategies. And so I spent the year really focused on reporting, getting some policies and procedures in place, making sure we are being transparent with our board and our property owners. And then I spent a lot of time working with our partners, the city, the chamber, Visit Mesa, ASU, Local First. These are all groups that we want to help support. We want to work with and we want to help support, but those relationships needed to be built. And relationships, I think, take time. And so we have spent some time finding ways to cross paths with those organizations. So our clean team, I'm sure, well, I should ask, is everyone on council familiar with our clean team? The bright blue shirts, mostly.
I see them out working quite often, so
Great.
I appreciate them cleaning up the your area.
That's great. Well, our team, you can see their picture. They are in bright blue uniforms, and that's by design. We want people to be able to see our clean team from blocks away. So when I came and we were talking about colors and people wanted sort of the softer blues or the softer greens, I said, absolutely not. We're going to go bright and visible, and I want to see you from blocks away. And I want everyone to be able to see you from blocks away, and I want people to know that is the clean team. I don't want people wondering, well, who are they? They're the clean team. They are here to deliver that extra enhanced level of service. So we have the new uniforms and branding, and you are the first to see our new truck design. We're moving from our white truck with a cattywampus magnet, and we're going to get a full wrap. And that is taking place actually this week. So we will see our new beautifully wrapped and bright visible truck in the field deployed beginning next week. So I hope you see it and you know this comes with a lot of effort and celebration. So a little bit about the work they do. Like I mentioned, we have 5. Our team is full-time. They are trained. They work 7 days a week, and they have been with us, most of them have been with us for over a year, so we don't have a lot of turnover. They like their job. They have a lot of pride in downtown, and they're happy with the work they're doing. They like being able to contribute, and it shows in their numbers. We, on average, will take care of over 16,000 requests for service a year. So it could be removing shopping carts, it might be an encampment, it might be graffiti or stickers. 16,000 in a year, that's a lot of work. And then on top of that, 3 tons of trash removed monthly on average. So I'll put it to you in a different way. Imagine walking onto Main Street today with 3 tons of trash on your sidewalks, and graffiti and stickers and loitering. That, I think, would lead to some discomfort, and we want just the opposite. So it's really, really important that this team is out and they are delivering this type of service, because it results in people feeling safe, feeling like attention is being paid to our downtown, and then they extend their stay and spend more money. So that is our goal. Well, it's hard to think that we can find good things to talk about with parking, but we can. We really, really can. We have worked with the city, and what we're trying to do right now is reach for the low-hanging fruit. What can we do right now that we don't have to do a big study? We don't need consultants. We don't need, millions of dollars. What can we do today? And one thing is when you come into downtown Mesa, I was a visitor up to a year ago. I was new coming into downtown, and there were different color signs, and there's an orange P and a brown P and a purple P, and it's difficult for somebody who doesn't know that system to understand it with just a sign and a color. Now I understand it. The orange P is directing you to the orange lot, but the public doesn't know that. So we've worked closely with the city, and we have recently transitioned to these universal blue signs that you see on the screen, and they are visible and they are universally recognized. So this color, the bright blue P for parking is something you see internationally. People recognize this, and I think it makes sense. So you're going to see that bright blue sign popping up more. And we're going to talk a little bit more about some things we can do with parking going forward, but that is in place now.
Terry, let me stop you right there.
Sure.
On the parking component. We will have opening the Hibbert Garage. Jeff, you want to talk on that a little bit, when that might be? Sure. And then the increase of public parking in the downtown area.
Sure. Mayor, council members, we have a ribbon cutting event or gate opening event scheduled for next Monday at 8 a.m. Right after that, we are setting it up so our city employees can start to transition to that garage over the course of the next couple weeks, so that by June 1st, everybody that is moving to the Hibbert garage should be transitioned over. We are looking at about 550 city employees that are currently parking in the Pepper Garage, Centennial Garage, and Sarine Garage that will be transitioning over to the Hibbert Garage, in addition to all of their city vehicles. So if they're, say, an engineering inspector and they have a city vehicle that they park in the Centennial Garage, that will also transition over to the Hibbert Garage. Specifically for the Pepper Garage, which is, I think, the most centrally located from a customer perspective, that will free up about 130 parking spaces within the Pepper Garage that we have committed to council in past conversations that we will convert over to time-limited customer parking.
Okay. And in total, how many parking spaces, public parking, will be opened up in the downtown area to help DMA and their mission?
So in addition to the Pepper Garage, you will also have the Centennial Garage and Sarine Garage. In total, that'll be about 550 parking spaces that will be freed up.
Okay.
Some of those are in garages that aren't as necessarily as in demand for customer parking for the overall public parking, such as the Centennial Garage up by the library and the Delta Hotel. So some of those are going to be opportunities for us to also increase potentially the number of permit parking spaces that we can offer up to our businesses and their employees as well.
And what's the amount of public parking will be available?
Oh, in total, we have over 5,000 spaces of public parking available
Okay.
downtown.
I just want to make sure we have the capacity for downtown as we have events and things.
Yes.
That the public can find, using the signs that you have, can find the parking. Because sometimes as council, we hear, hey, I couldn't find public parking. And so we just need to make that available.
And Mayor and Council, this came up in a previous conversation, but and Terry and I, we both have it on our phones right now. We're working with the Department of Innovation Technology, Scott and his team, on the beta test for the parking app.
Oh, good.
And it is working. It is working well. I look forward to actually expanding the scope of the parking app so that it can cover all of our parking lots versus the ones that are on beta test right now.
Good. I know Ms. Duff champions this, so she's watching it.
I have a couple of questions about the garages.
Yeah. of course.
So on the Pepper Garage, are we going to mark that? But a lot of people don't know that there's parking in there, and since a lot of it was city, it hasn't really been advocated for. But now we have those spaces available. How are we going to mark that so people know there are spaces available, and please go in the garage?
Mayor and Councilmember Duff, you're exactly right. The Pepper Garage today, I believe, if my memory serves me correct, we have 11 spaces that would be generally available to the public outside of permit parking 8 to 5 on Monday through Friday. So there are, people do just not even attempt to go to that garage. So there is a need to improve our signage for the garages to make sure that people recognize that there is parking available, particularly as we add parking that'd be available during daytime, but also for those after 5 p.m. Availability. Something that Terry and I have been talking about, and Terry is looking forward to doing as part of our marketing campaign, is making an actual marketing campaign around parking to help make sure that people are aware of what is available and to help direct them to the spaces that are available to them in downtown.
If we had a few dollars left over from our neon project, it'd be great to have a neon parking sign at the garage because it kind of fits into what we're doing and it's obvious and will stand out so that it kind of announces, hey, there's public parking here, just a suggestion. And I know that I think people now know that the Eco Mesa lot is public parking because I go in there and quite a few people, originally people didn't know and they'd be driving around, but and I know there's a sandwich board on there, but maybe something a little bit more robust.
Yes, Mayor, Councilmember Duff, that is definitely something that we are cognizant of and that we are want to find a better solution for. Even the switch to the blue parking signs, the universal parking signs, it's helpful, but it doesn't tell all the rules. So a lot of people still think if they see a permit sign, they don't see the small print that says that they can park there in the evenings. So we still have to help people understand the rules, so that there is a more convenient access to these parking spaces for our customers.
Just one other thought on that. When you talk about the beta for the parking, is that a separate app or is that going to be included in the Mesa Now app? Or, because drop-down menus really help a lot of people use the Mesa Now app. We've really been promoting that.
Mayor, I actually do not know the answer to that question. We will work with Scott to find out the answer. Right now, it is a standalone app, but I don't know whether it's intended to be integrated into the Mesa Now app.
Okay, you might choose to do that.
I believe there are other folks that would agree with you.
Okay. All right, Terry, time's oh.
Real quick, Jeff. So we've been talking about the wayfinding and the signage, it seems like for at least a year or so. So are we waiting for the mobility plan to sort of be done so that we know where all the spots are and maybe some of this moving around of employees? What are we waiting on? I know you said you're working on it, but we've kind of been saying that for a while, so I'm just kind of curious, what's the timeline here?
Mayor, Councilmember Goforth, it is an ongoing effort. So we have implemented some of the wayfinding changes. They are in place today. What is more in the delay is the rules sign. The sign that says, once you've arrived, this is what the rules are of the parking spaces. This is the sign that needs to exist, signs that need to exist for the customers to know that those spaces are actually available to them, even though they have a permit sign on them. And then little minor things like it's actually not allowed to back into your parking space because we need to be able to see your license plate. That rule sign, we have been, I'll be honest, we have probably gone through, I don't know, half a dozen iterations of that because it becomes the rule sign becomes something that people are just going to ignore because it has too many words. And so we're trying to find the right solution. The micromobility plan and the recommendations from that plan will play into this some, but the reality is we're trying to find the right way to actually implement that.
Maybe there's too many rules.
That may be.
Yeah, maybe.
And that's actually our last discussion about this is that we were trying to put too many of the rules on there, and the biggest rules and the most important rules are the times when the spaces are available, and that's what we need to convey to folks and find the right locations to do so.
Yeah. It just seems to me we could probably eliminate a lot of this discussion if we just got the signing accomplished.
Mayor, Councilmember Goforth, if signage alone could eliminate the discussions on parking, I would have those signs in tomorrow.
And I think the movement of the employees to the Hibbert presents an opportunity to really make a huge change that is more noticeable.
Mr. Adams?
Ever since we had, about a month or so ago, a presentation about the parking issue, I've been asking people, and this is not just a Mesa thing. They talk about Gilbert, they talk about downtown Phoenix, but the overall thing is, and I'm encouraged by what I'm hearing here, simple. The simpler, the better. Mm-hmm. The fewer lines of information, and I don't think we need to talk about bailments and things like this. But it confuses people. It confuses me. There's a particular conversation I had where I encouraged someone who lives in Chandler to visit some restaurants in downtown Mesa. And his only complaint was, I couldn't figure out where to park, I couldn't figure out where could I park after 5. So I think I agree with what's going on here. Simple. Make it simple, make it easy. I think Councilmember Duff's idea of a neon sign down there, great. So that's my view on it.
Thank you.
All right, Terry?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, if I could just add a comment, and I don't want to overtalk it, but parking is, it's people's first and last experience with downtown. It's their entry to downtown. We need it to be easy and convenient and clear. And it's their last experience as they get in their car to leave downtown. And the last thing we want them to have is a ticket. We want them coming back. So we need that ease. We need the arrival signage to say, you are here. You're in the Pepper Garage. You're in the Centennial Garage. So the answer is yes. I think it's a comprehensive and coordinated approach, and I think some things like a neon sign will involve money, and that might take more time. But there are things we can be doing today to create the story that parking in downtown Mesa is available and it is convenient. Signage, collateral, those are things we can be doing right now. Just to add.
Thanks for the pep talk.
And, you know, I come from downtown Flagstaff. Parking was the #1 issue in downtown Flagstaff. It was the #1 issue in downtown Phoenix. It was the #1 issue in downtown St. Louis. It's the #1 issue in every city. Every city is dealing with parking, you know, and we just keep at it, and let's just make it where our customers, our patrons, our employees have ease and convenience, and they know what to do. Moving on, past parking.
Yeah.
Okay, to spending. So DMA does have a downtown gift card. This is for the public. Anybody can come in, purchase a downtown gift card, and it's good at more than 40 downtown businesses. This has a direct spend of over $14,000 that goes directly to the businesses. And now, talking about events, this is certainly more fun than parking. I wanted to spend a minute to talk about why events matter. I think events are crucial. Events create vibrancy. They add energy to otherwise empty streets and alleys and plazas. Events help position downtown Mesa as a destination within the region. And we have found a lot of success by offering free family-friendly events. It's not our sole focus. We do the bar crawls and things like that, but really where we see a lot of interest, we see families with their kiddos coming out to almost everything we do. So that free family-friendly, I think, is a niche for us being DMA and us being downtown Mesa and the city of Mesa. I think it's part of what helps elevate us and makes us the place for free family-friendly fun. Phoenix isn't doing it. Tempe, Scottsdale, Chandler, Gilbert, they're not going after the families the way we are. So I think we own it and we keep doing it. We also use our events as a way to engage our businesses. Every event, we're either connecting patrons to the businesses, like through Easter or Halloween. We find ways to get people into the businesses, the bar crawls, barbecue. We work with our brewers. We work with our businesses to come out and set up at events. So everything we're doing for the community, but we're also doing for our businesses, for their engagement and to drive business, foot traffic, and spending directly in for them. So I thought I wanted to spend a little time going through our events just to make you aware of what we're doing. But I wanted to offer a few considerations for you to keep in mind as I'm talking about these. The events that you're going to see come to downtown Mesa with intention. Things don't just happen. Events don't just happen. Other things might just happen, but events do not. There's a why behind our events. We could go through this and I could tell you why and the audience and what is specific, the specific accomplishable for every one of these events. And they're all a little different. Variety is important. We want to be able to reach a broad audience. So we do have small community-based events like our Story Time that reaches families. And then we have larger events like New Year's Eve that brings thousands into downtown. So we're going after everyone through variety. Events take time to build. I've been here, you've heard, just over a year. Most of what you're seeing, these are first-year events and activities. A couple we're in our second year. Easter and Halloween have more tenure, but most of these are new. And events take time to build, but we're seeing it already, even within our first year. And here is something that's new. This year, for the first time, there was a partnership in place between DMA and Visit Mesa, where we received $150,000 of sponsorship to put on 4 signature events. So that really enabled us to put on the events that you're going to see. We were able to bring thousands into downtown just with those 4 events. So I'll go through them, but keep in mind that these events are heavy lifts, but they bring a lot of people. They generate business, spending, and they fill our public spaces, like our streets, with people and energy, and that is sort of contagious in the most positive way. So story time, this is new this year. This is done in partnership with the MAC. It's a small event, but people just love it. We do this on a Thursday daytime, so we're really going after the homeschool crowd or the young ones that aren't in school yet, giving parents something to do during the day. And for us, we're bringing people downtown on a Thursday at 10 a.m. You know, that's not generally a time that you would think that there's going to be an event, but there is. And when that event ends at 11, our families then go into businesses. They go for candy, ice cream, coffee, lunch. So people end up staying downtown. We've added crafts and cookies and juice just to keep people engaged. I don't want them coming, doing this event, and then getting in their car to leave. We want to keep them in downtown. This year, we moved the story time to the plaza. So we're using an existing public space, and it's wonderful. It's lovely, and people really, really enjoy it. And we're filling a space that the city has invested in. I mentioned briefly the bar and food crawls. These are easier because once you have a template, you can just sort of put it in place and continue to offer them. The businesses love them. We do, bar crawls, but we also have some food crawls. But it's not all about the bars. So we do a taco trail, and this year we're adding a keeping cool component. So going into summer, we'll be working with the businesses to offer something cool, literally and figuratively. The baseball block party, this took place in February. This was a second-year event, free, family-friendly, and we had over 2,500, not bad for a second-year event. This is a way to celebrate all things spring training in baseball. We have the Cubs, we have the A's, we have stadiums that are just slightly too far to walk to get to downtown. So we're making the party in downtown. So around spring training and around the Diamondbacks, come into downtown. We had a huge batting and pitching exercise. We had the mascots from ASU, from the Diamondbacks. We had sports podcasters that were on stage, live music. It was just a lot of fun. And I mean, you can see it's outdoors in the middle of our streets. It looks great. Easter, this is one of the events that's been going on for many years, and so the community really does turn out for this. This year, we moved it to the plaza. So instead of taking place on McDonald, we moved it to the existing plaza, and then we worked and activated Main Street to get people to the businesses where there was an egg hunt with more than 16,000 eggs and 20 businesses. I will ask for volunteers today if anybody would like to help me fill eggs for next year. We're starting tomorrow. So with Easter and with everything, it comes with the free crafts, the games, the activities, the face painting, the live music. It's just a lot of fun, and it's a way to keep people downtown for hours. Haunting on Main Street is similar. This is our Halloween event. We have more than 30 businesses. We see trick-or-treating all up and down Main Street. And for this event, we add a window decorating contest just so people have some extra fun as they're walking around downtown. And the businesses have a great time with it. Barbecue Classic. This is our second year. And this is one of the events that was made possible through the sponsorship with Visit Mesa. The Barbecue Classic is scheduled for this November 7th and 8th. I'm inviting you now, if you would like to judge, you know someone, I can get you in. We are looking for judges. There are 40+ regional pitmasters that come and offer tastings on 4 different meats. There's live music, there's great energy, there's a kids queue, there's, so it's ways to, even when we're doing an event that seems like it might be for parents and older folks, we still find ways to include the kids with that kids queue. So a lot of fun, all ages, and I hope all of you will be judges for us this year. Our Sunset Markets continue to take place monthly on the 3rd Thursday. The markets, I think, are great because they start where we can capture some of the employees before they leave to go home. And it's a great way to connect some of our local vendors with their prepared foods or crafts, things like that. I will say, in the year I've been here, I think we can do some work on the market. I think there's opportunity to maybe inject it with some new energy. So we'll have our last one of the season next week, next Thursday, and then we break for the summer, and I think we'll revisit the market, and we'll launch again in the fall with new spirit, new energy, more vendors, and a broader reach. So I would say look for Sunset Markets 2.0 in the fall. Merry Main Street, we are already working with the city's team. We had a great relationship with the team last year in 2024 to enhance Merry Main. And where we came in is the city already does a great job. The city has a lot going on for the holidays, and the team at the city, the special events team, they're just great to work with. They're fun, creative, they get it. So where we come in is we figure the city already has a great foundation. Let's build activity on days and times of day that's not already scheduled. So let's build the calendar. So you have Santa at the Post Friday, Saturday. Well, we're going to come in and we're going to do something Thursday. We're going to add something Sunday. We'll do a princess party Wednesday. So we're adding to what the city's already doing. So as a whole, now we have a robust holiday season, and we will just keep looking for ways to add on to that schedule. And our other effort is to try to find ways to improve the connectivity. So to get people from the temple, from the ice skating rink, from the movies, how do we get them down Main Street? We've got to find ways to make people feel comfortable, and that's a daytime presence. People need to feel safe as they look ahead and know that there are businesses. They might see signage. They might see things that make them want to walk. But I think it's just as important that we have a nighttime presence too. If somebody is at the skating rink, how do we get them to walk down Main Street for dinner and it's nighttime? We want them to hear music. We want them to see lighting. So there's a nighttime presence I think DMA can help add as well. The menorah lighting, I think this is such a wonderful community event. DMA doesn't do much other than support the event through marketing and promotions and reaching the broader community to invite them. The team that works on this event, I think, does a great job. We just want to come in and help support, and and we'll see it this year as well. And then, of course, we have New Year's Eve. New Year's was, I think, a pretty special event. This is the third event that received sponsorship from Visit Mesa. And this event it was a first-year event, and we had more than 5,000 people show. And I think this is, it sticks within our free, family-friendly. We had crafts, we had activities, we had live music. But really what we did was we made this event unique to the rest of the world. I don't know. New York has its Tiffany ball, Prescott has a boot, Flagstaff drops a pine cone. Well, in downtown Mesa, we dropped a real live human being. We dropped the diving lady. And
Say slowly lower.
she, much better. Much better. We slowly lowered the diving lady to the countdown. So as everyone counted 10, 9, 8, she dropped, or lowered, lowered safely. When she landed, we had a timed perfectly daytime firework presentation, as you can see. It was really special. That was, I think, more than 30 seconds. And then we had a sparkling apple cider toast to wish in a sweet new year. No one else in the Valley is doing this event. No one else is doing a New Year's. No one else has a fireworks display and a real live person as our special element. For a first-year event, with everything I just rattled, I think it's easy to see the vision of this event growing over 3, 4, 5, 6 years and the attention this is going to get. So this is exciting to me.
We have a comment or question, Vice Mayor?
I attended this New Year's event, or New Year's Eve event. That was pretty unique. I think that's a great way to do it. Since we're at the end of this section, the question is, for all these events, are we collecting data? Are you collecting data on where people are coming from here so that we can further market it in those areas, or maybe expand that marketing out to areas that are underrepresented?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, thank you for the question, Vice Mayor. We are collecting that data. So we look at several different things to get a sense of our audience and where there might be gaps where we can focus our audience or focus our efforts. We do look at Placer, so we're able to get demographic data, how many people are coming, how long are they staying in downtown. We can put on our geofence and figure it out. We look at Placer, that's how we got some of these attendance numbers. We also look at when we do events, now New Year's is different, but most of our other events, we ask for RSVPs. Even if it's a free event, we'll put it on Eventbrite or we'll have an event on our website. We just ask people to click and give us your name and zip code so we can collect that data of where they're coming from. And then we also look at our engagement using our social media ads. So we analyze, now this isn't necessarily who's there, but we can see who's engaging with us, who's clicking, who's coming back, who's repeating their visit to our website. We can look at all that data and see the majority of who we're getting for most of our events is Valley-wide. It is Mesa, it's beyond Mesa, but it's Valley. That's today. I can see with New Year's Eve, we're already looking at what we can do to grow New Year's Eve. Barbecue is moving to a multi-day event. So we're looking at taking these events that have that turnout in its first and second year already. We're looking at what do we do to extend even the event so we can get that overnight stay. So I would look for, this year we just look to put the events on, be known, get some recognition, bring people back into downtown to get reacquainted with us. And now going into future years for these events and my second year of work, we're looking to expand and extend the event to get those overnight stays.
That's a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you. So That's events, a year-round schedule, small and large, and all audiences, but we're also doing other work. We have a dedicated business engagement staff person. Liz is out daily working and supporting our small businesses. Last month, we did my first broker tour. We partnered with Jeff and Jimmy and Jay's team, Economic Development, and we put on a broker tour that focused on downtown. And we had 20 show, which is really, really good. I think the last time there was a broker tour was 23. And we had just a handful. So to have 20, I think, says a lot about our collective relationship with this community and the reputation of Downtown Mesa. People want to know what's going on, so they came to check it out. We're doing a lot of work to support business-to-business collaboration. How can Mad Candy partner with the boutique? How can Oro partner with the Burrito Holics? How can we get businesses working together? And we're seeing a lot of that, and the businesses are benefiting from that. Let's see, and then marketing and communications. We've brought on a new marketing and communications manager. Juanita has focused on analyzing and sort of restructuring our social media effort, our newsletter, and as a result, we've seen an increase in engagement. We have regular posts now that are going out, and people are engaging, they're commenting, so we're seeing an increase in that engagement, and we're seeing an increase in people opening emails from us. So to us, that is good, and we will just continue to work on seeing further increases. We have new graphics, we have new branding. We're trying really hard to not only promote what someone might be there for that day, but what else is coming that month so people can take a picture and come back. Now, talking about 2025, this was sort of hard. I wanted to jump in and talk about some parking. I wanted to talk about some event things, but I was good and I waited to get to this point. So what I've talked about has been what we've accomplished in 2024. And to make sure we stay on track as we go forward, our team developed some guiding principles. I want to make sure we don't get sidetracked. A lot of people will come and say, well, DMA, you should be doing this or you should be doing that. And it's not so much the city, but our businesses ask. They have great ideas, and some things we can do and some things we can't, but we go through this exercise so we can tell the businesses we did think of it, and either it's something we're able to do, or if not, we can explain why. It might be we don't have funding capacity. It might be a World Fest of Taste of, an international food festival. We don't have the money to do that this year. So continuing to work with the businesses, doing what we can do and explaining the why or a path forward. If it's an idea that we want to see happen, it just can't be maybe this year, but let's build and see what we can do for future years. So we're keeping our head focused. We want to make sure we're able to deliver, we're able to measure, and we're able to report on what we're doing. And we want to be able to have value for our businesses. And there are some things that's working. So I wanted to talk about that just for a second. Obviously, the work of our clean team, they're visible, they're keeping our public spaces clean, they serve as eyes and ears for the police, and so they are an extra uniform presence. We can reach out to the engagement team or PD if we need to coordinate efforts, but our clean team, I think, is a great asset. Of events, you saw the emphasis and the resulting success from our lineup, ranging from smaller events to the larger events. I think we're delivering exceptional experiences for all. Our partnership with Jeff and Urban Transformation, I've worked in a lot of other cities. I've been in this industry a long time. And it is my job to study what other cities are doing. And I have not come across an example of a partnership with a city and a downtown organization like this. I think it is unique and special and a best practice, and it's something we should be celebrating. We attend, there's an annual conference for the downtown industry, just like there is for every other industry. We are actually pitching this partnership as a session for how other cities can begin to put in place what you've done so well here in Mesa. I mean, it's really pretty special. But even with everything that's working, I think there is still a lot of work to be done. So I want to just touch on a couple of priorities and then open it for any questions. I think I'm going to keep it relatively high level. I think our marketing, there's room for us to amplify our marketing effort. I think that we could work with some other partners, the city included. We could come up with unified messaging for downtown where we're all saying the same things. We're all talking about what's going on in downtown. Whatever that campaign looks like, we should have partners, we should leverage our resources, and we should come up with a story that we are all telling. And our role also will be to refresh our logo and our branding and our collateral. Who loves our logo?
You just did it like, what,
Was that
5 years ago, 4 years ago?
Correct, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Councilmember Duff. The creation of that logo is relatively new. I think we could do more, we could refresh. We don't have to go through a whole entire new exercise because it's on so much, but I think we could do more with it.
Well, I think you just challenged yourself.
I'm up for that.
Okay,
Mayor, thank you.
you're welcome.
It needs to be louder.
Well, I can be loud. I think also there's opportunity for us, for DMA, to focus on walkability, connectivity, alleyways, improvements for beautification and public art. I think we can be pivotal in achieving these goals that I know we share with the city, so much so that DMA has set aside some funding so we can actually implement some of what we're talking about. So alleys, we have one alley that we're focused on right now. We're talking about doing some plantings. There's some lighting for an evening presence. So there's some conversation to be had about how we can help improve our public spaces. And DMA will be a funding partner in those solutions. So we're not just asking the city, we're coming to the table.
Terry, on that subject, I assume you're working with the businesses and telling them, okay, we're going to work on this alley and stuff so they can do their part in creating that activation on the back of their business. Some of them already have it, but maybe they would like to do extra, or others don't have much.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Councilmember Duff, that's a great question, and absolutely. The businesses have entries from the alley, and I think that's how some people really want to enter the business. So we absolutely want to see the businesses participate and turn those back doors into front doors as well.
And some artistic bike racks through the alley, because it's just a easy way for people on bikes to enter the buildings. Instead of on Main Street, they'd be on the sidewalk or on the street in a sharing the car lane. The alleys would be a great entrance, especially for people on bikes, because it's safe, and then they would have a rack there, they could lock up the bike, and I think there's a lot of possibility on that.
Great idea. Thank you. We've also set aside some funding for a new mobile information kiosk. I've heard from talking to the businesses and to some on council, how do we do a better job of connecting people from the convention center, the amphitheater, the MAC? How do we connect them to businesses? And what we've come up with, because we can do this quickly, is a mobile information kiosk that is manned by one of our ambassadors. We could roll it out to the MAC. We could greet people as they're walking in. We could greet people as they're walking out, and we can connect them to businesses. We could have right at that mobile information kiosk a list of restaurants, businesses, bars, upcoming events, collateral. This is something that I think there's a lot of interest. There's excitement for it from the MAC. There's excitement from when I talked to the city about having this at the convention center. It's an extra layer of service right now, customer service, and we can do this. We have the funding. It could be something we see out as early as the fall.
I'm super excited about that. I think it's great. I know when I'm at events or whatever, people are always stopping. Is there, what's down here, whatever? I don't know. I think this is an opportunity, and I appreciate your jumping on it.
And focusing on clean team deployment, service delivery, reporting, and then parking. We talked about parking, so I'm not going to go into it too much. I want to bring it back up as a priority and a goal for us. Going forward is to reach for that low-hanging fruit and see what we can do to make parking more convenient, easier, not only for employees, but for the public. And then just to continue to serve as a champion for downtown. I think our events are, we've shown you what we've put on for a year. Those events brought thousands into downtown. Everything was in public spaces. Our alleys look great. McDonald looked great. The plaza looks great when there's people. And events bring people. And making sure those are free and family friendly, I just think are critical. And I think as we're hearing of shifts in spending and consumer confidence, I think there's uncertainty, and I think it's affecting everyone. Those events are going to be more important than ever in engaging our community and bringing them into downtown. If people are pulling back, they're going to be looking for those free experiences, and downtown's going to need them. We're going to want reason to have people in our downtown so we can get them into the businesses. So I think we have maybe we can't take our foot off the pedal. I don't, not this year, not with the uncertainty that I'm hearing and seeing. So I think with that, we're dedicated, we're here. We aren't going to take our foot off the gas. I think there's a lot we've done in 24 and a lot we're committed to doing in 25. But we have a great relationship with the city. We have a great relationship with our businesses and our partners, and we look forward to it. So I'm happy to answer your questions.
Great. Mr. Adams, start us off.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks for the presentation. I'm impressed, and I think your enthusiasm comes through for what you've done and what you're trying to do. Just a few comments. For about the last 5 years, I have maintained my business's office in downtown Mesa. I'm over at Centennial Center. I have seen a night and day difference in DMA over the last year or so. So I would say thank you. It's very obvious to me as a business operating in downtown Mesa. Just a couple thoughts. We heard a presentation a few weeks back from the owner of the Delta Hotel. I would encourage you to see if there are any things you can do in conjunction with the Delta. They would like to have more folks stay overnight and have events there. So that would be just a suggestion based on that. I'm just curious, what's your average email open rate? You've mentioned you're getting more clicks, whatever. What's your average open rate? If you don't know, you can tell me.
No, it was on that slide. I think we talked about the increase. I don't know the answer to that. I just know the increase. We've increased I know our list goes to over 7,000, and our increase rate the open rate increased by more than 20%, but I don't know what that number is. But I'll find out for you.
Yeah, and I'd look forward to, you mentioned you're reaching out to council individually. I look forward to that meeting. But just again, compliments, noticeable changes. And I think your focus on parking is and should be one of your priorities. Thank you.
Mr. Heredia.
Quick question. Thank you for the information. What's the vacancy rates? I know in the past we've had presentations that showed the current commercial buildings that are not occupied right now. So what's the current vacancy, and what are we doing to promote that end as far as bringing in additional businesses? Because I feel like we've had quite a bit of areas of downtown, different pockets with long-term kind of just struggling commercial businesses. And you see in these other downtowns when a business might go, like it's quickly kind of reopened to a new concept or something. I feel like in downtown Mesa, maybe it lags a little bit more, but I don't know what's the current kind of vision for that, or what are we seeing in the market, right? So.
Mayor, Councilmember Heredia, the vacancy rate in downtown overall is for commercial vacancy is actually not so bad. It's increased over time. It's probably above 10% right now. Yeah. Without going too deep into the reasons behind that, sure. there is a an individual property owner that owns several properties in downtown that is responsible for a large proportion of that vacancy. Buildings that were purchased several years ago that had tenants at the time. Tenants were relocated out with the anticipation that there'd be new tenants and build-outs that could occur. The build-outs ended up being a lot more expensive than that property owner ever expected, and they're now at an inflection point, I think, on how to be able to move forward with the remaining properties that they have available to rent. There are 2 of those properties that are currently under construction or will be under construction soon for new tenants, but the remainder of those properties still do not have tenants lined up. So the question you ask is a very important one, but the answer is a difficult one. We as a team, the City of Mesa, the Urban Transformation, Downtown Mesa Association, Economic Development, we are working collaboratively to find new retail establishments to come here. We just last week, Jimmy and I sat down and had a good meeting with a broker that represents the El Charro property to help them find a new tenant or buyer. So we work actively to try and help bring those leads to the business, the property owners. That's where our handoff happens, though, and it's on the property owner at that point to be able to take it and close the deal and be able to do the build-outs necessary to get those tenants in place.
So is there any hope with that landlord that we're working with them? I'm assuming, and you're stating that we're trying to figure this out, but is there hope? Because it does look in some of these pockets, right? It adds to what we're missing, I think, to fully embrace all the work that's been done and will be continued to work on. So I don't know, is there hope or?
Mayor, Councilmember Heredia, there's always hope. I'm an eternal optimist on all things. But your point is very well taken. If you're walking on Main Street and you have a long section of vacancies, that detracts from your experience, and it changes your attitude and your perception of what you have experienced. That property owner is going through some transitions. They've had a lot of staff turnover in the last 2 weeks. So we had previously had monthly engagement with them, monthly meetings, so that we could keep in touch with them, find out what they need from us and what we can do to help them. Those meetings have fallen off the books, and we will continue to engage with them and hope that they'll want to engage with us. But right now we're kind of in a flux position.
Okay. All right. And my other question on additional events that happen, I know what's the role DMA plays. For instance, like I remember the literacy event that we had, that was thousands of people as well. Didn't see that there. Other events that have, I think the Asian themed events that happen in the fall. Just what's the role of DMA that plays on additional events like those that come to downtown?
Sure.
The music festival, I think, right? So.
Sure. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council Member Heredia, thank you for the question. DMA, what I covered are the events that DMA produces. There are a lot of other events and activities that take place in downtown that DMA helps support. And we have a full menu of options that other event goers or other event producers or even the city where we partner. So we can help support events through added marketing, promotion. We have a totally different audience than the city might have or another event producer might have. So we'll send to our audience. We can help engage our businesses. We make sure if there's another event that we're able to connect our businesses or make sure there's not a conflict. If there's a street closure, our clean team handles that street closure. So we'll set up the street closed signs. We'll go and take care of the closure. We offer custodial services if there's an event at the plaza. So we can help support other events in multiple ways. It just depends on what that event producer is looking for. But what we're trying to do, I'm trying to recruit as many third-party events, positive, productive third-party events into downtown because that creates that vibrancy and adds to that robust schedule, and it doesn't fall to our staff or our budget. So if we can recruit good events, like that 8123 festival that took place at the amphitheater that sold out, if we could bring them back, if we could be sort of intentional in recruiting those third-party events, I think that would be great. And DMA is there to help support that.
Any further questions, council?
I do have one. It's not DMA, but it is downtown related on the status of the facade improvement program.
Mayor, Mayor, Councilmember Duff, facade improvement program is progressing very well. We are in final design for all of the 18 properties that are participating in the facade improvement. The construction on the first 3 or 4 properties actually will start later this month, and it will continue on over the course of the next 12 to 18 months.
All right.
And Mayor, we just have a few more slides to be able to close out this conversation.
Sure.
I object.
I'll try to make them quick. What we're going to do is just a quick overview of the city's contribution to DMA's operation. DMA does have a professional services agreement with the city that contracts them to provide levels of services for downtown. There's the baseline services, which are paid for through the, the annual SID 228 assessment on commercial properties, as well as the city's voluntary self-assessment on the city-owned properties. That provides that baseline of having clean team ambassadors to take care of the different zones to a certain level of cleaning, the pressure washing, promotion and marketing to a certain level, mainly just like a website, online presence, weed control, graffiti abatement, and then the business development is mainly the business outreach. The enhanced services portion of that agreement is where DMA does a lot more, including all the parking management, which is permitting, maintaining garages, ticketing, and the enforcement arm. The promotional programming that enhances the marketing, that's all the public relations efforts, a lot more online advertising, print advertising if they do it, digital. The banner kiosk program for all the banners you see on the streets around downtown, they manage that and put up those banners. There's special event production, enhanced public space management, so they do take care of more. That's where they go and clean off junk that's been dumped on vacant lots and do additional cleaning, whether it's the dumpsters that you saw in the photos, things like that. And then they also have a portion of the contract to maintain the plaza at Mesa City Center to take care of the restrooms there and clean up that property as well. There's 3 buckets of money. There's the annual assessment on the commercial properties that goes through. That is going to have the public hearing on May 19th at the council meeting that day. The city's self-assessed properties and then the enhanced services that go with that. Here's the view of their total budget
Jimmy,
that they have to operate. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Sorry, Jimmy. So on the first one, that's the SID 228. That's an assessment on all the properties, excluding the city properties.
On commercial properties. Residential properties are not included in that. but, and the city properties are separate.
And that's that second, what you're calling the city
Correct.
voluntary zone?
Yes.
Okay.
And you're talking about business-owned properties on the SID.
Well, they could be owned by someone not affiliated with the business, but yes, where
Yeah.
there is a business. Yeah.
Okay.
And vacant properties are considered part of that as well, so.
Can I ask, how is the assessment applied? How is it, I guess it's this hearing that's coming up. I mean, how do you determine, and is it the same for the commercial versus the city? How do those differ?
Mayor and Councilwoman Goforth, there is a difference. The commercial properties actually have a higher assessment rate. The city has one base rate across the entire square mile. The zones determine the amount that's paid by the commercial properties, which zone they're in. And then there's a formula that takes into account whether the parcel's vacant, what the building on the property, their storefront, square footage, things like that go into accounting for that. So.
Thank you.
Mayor, Councilmember Goforth, if it would be beneficial, we could definitely come and show you and there's a methodology that was we brought to council and to be updated, I think 3 or 4 years ago, to really overhaul and reassess how properties are assessed. So we created a new methodology based on use, square footage, frontage, so that the amount the ratepayer pays is consistent with the amount of services that they receive, essentially by the amount of frontage they have on the street. It's also important to note the city's self-assessment is for all city-owned property, which includes all city-owned right-of-way. So it is a lower assessment, but we are also voluntarily assessing on rights-of-way versus just fee simple ownership property as well.
Yeah, I think maybe when we meet, if you could.
We can definitely bring that
that'd be
with
great.
us.
You bet. You bet.
Go ahead,
Jimmy?
Jim.
Oh, sorry. You mentioned vacancies. Is that assessed differently than the other ones that are occupied?
Mayor, Councilwoman Duff, yes, it is. There is a different rate that goes in for vacant parcels.
But
So that would be unbuilt parcels, not necessarily vacant buildings?
Correct.
Okay, I got it. Thanks.
Yeah, it's done as an incentive to push the property owner to actually do something with it so they don't just sit vacant.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
As I mentioned, this is the total budget for DMA. There is also a special event parking fund allotment. DMA manages that special event parking for events at the Mesa Arts Center. From that fund goes into a separate bank account that they manage, maintain. They share it with us, and then they request through the city manager if they want to use that money for special downtown projects. One of the things that comes from that is the $50,000 allotment that they're using for an additional parking enforcement person to make sure that they have coverage on the street when their main person has to go to court. So, with
Yeah,
that,
how many in this room has gotten that enforcement? No raise of hands, okay.
no one wants to give it away.
That's why we don't back into the parking lots, right? All right.
And then,
Ms.
one-
Goforth has a question.
Oh,
Well,
sorry.
I just assume since you're presenting on their annual budget, this question's appropriate. Can you give us the breakdown of all the expense, of all the uses, like personnel, administration versus what you spend on marketing, what versus?
I will let Terry do that. We do actually have that in a report for you for the May 19th, the council
Okay.
report for the May 19th meeting. So you
Okay.
will see that. But Terry, I don't know if you want to address how it breaks down, like personnel wise and things like that. So.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council Member Goforth, I would be happy to share that with you as long as it's not from my memory. I would be happy to send you that breakdown in advance of you getting the council report, and then it will be in that as well, but I can send that to you before.
Might as well send it to all council.
I will. Thank you.
And then there's one final item that I wanted to mention. There is, as I said, there's the hearing on May 19th for the assessment where council approves that. I did want to point out at this point, we've received 3 letters of protest that accounts for 4 parcels of the 525 parcels that are assessed for the commercial properties. But we'll see if more come through before the May 19th deadline and if anyone shows up there. But just want to let you know that those are out there.
And I will just weigh in to provide a little context. 2 of those letters of protest are from out-of-state landlords. Interestingly enough, one of Lozano State landlords is one that the city is currently working on with a development agreement, so there will be a separate conversation as DMA had provided multiple instances of services to clean up dumping that was on their property since they're out of state. And then there is one locally owned property, which is actually Councilmember Adams, the Centennial Center owner. I think that is one where we just need to, and Terry and I, we just need to have a sit down and have a conversation. I think there is a misunderstanding or a chance for us to communicate better the differences between levels of service depending on what zone you are located within the city, within the downtown.
Ms. Duff?
I just wanted to mention, I believe the assessment rate is not changing for this year. So it's the one that was set a year or two ago.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council Member, that is correct.
Okay, with that, I have some parting thoughts and suggestions. Thank you for collaboration with Mesa. I think this is awesome. You know, every time we have an event, we're planning for the next year. Unfortunately, you know, we think what we can do better. And I thought about the Easter egg hunt. There's lots of volunteer organizations that can help you fill Easter eggs, okay? So, you know, Just Serve is one of them. I'll just use them. Have a great event. You know, events, food and events combined together. Food brings people to your downtown area. And I find that very successful. I thought about geocaching and QR signage as well, incorporating that in some of the things that you do, as well as, you know, Mesa Channel 11. I don't know if you advertise there, whether that can be done, as well as advertising in our city billing. Little flyers can go out on that. With that, ASU's in the room, collaboration with ASU. They're going to be a longtime partner with Mesa. So I would encourage you to sit down and look at future programming with them and how you can work together. But then we value our branding. Neon signs will be a great asset to the downtown area. I know we discussed the alleyways, how we can incorporate neon signs. That'll be a work in progress over time. But branding is key. And so with that, everything costs money, you know, today. So we have to do it within our constraints and our budget. So with that, thank you for your presentation, and go out there and do some great work. Anything else you want to add, or council?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, I just want to thank you. Thank you for vision and your support of downtown and DMA and the great partners that I work with at the city every day. I couldn't do the great work that we do without the support. And it makes my work more fun.
Good.
I have fun friends.
Good. As long as you're smiling, I know.
I am smiling, and I look forward to continuing conversations with each of you. The ones that I have spoken with, I will be back, and I look forward to getting some FaceTime with those I haven't spoken with. So I really look forward to that.
Great. Councilmember Duff?
Yeah, I'd like to add on that Visit Mesa has been a great partner in providing some funds to get some of the events launched, especially when the first times. It's hard to then, but I want to put it out there that, of course, we want to grow our events and make them more robust, and sponsorships are available. So Terry would be glad to work with any business or individual who would like to get their name out in these events, and so that we can do more. Thanks.
Thank you, and I will also share with you our sponsor deck in case you'd like to share it. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your presentation, and have a great rest of the day and week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. With that, we'll move over to next is current events and conferences attended. Council, anything you want to share? Mr. Adams, Ms. Duff, we'll start right to left. Vice Mayor?
I'll share two events I've attended over the past couple of weeks, both in cooperation with Arizona State University. First was the East Valley Innovation Night as part of ASU's Edison Entrepreneurship and Innovation Institute. It was an event for small business entrepreneurs to come and present to Meta, was the partner that provided cash awards, a little seed funding to help
that business grow. So these are basically East Valley businesses. Most of them are Mesa-based businesses. It's an ongoing program. I think they switch between Mesa and Chandler doing the presentations every year. But it was an opportunity to showcase the Mesa Business Builder and talk with some of these innovators about the services that Mesa provides for innovation. And the second showcase was at ASU Polytechnic, the Spring Innovations Showcase. These were students at the university. They partner with businesses, mostly in Mesa, a lot of Southeast Mesa businesses, Boeing in your district as well. So they gave, I believe it was $7,500 to work on a real world problem and then showcase that solution or partial solution to those industries. So it's an introduction from academia into really an applied science and applied project, and also provides kind of a job resume piece too, so where these folks are can get hired by these companies. In addition to Boeing, Axon was there as well. They were working on some problems. So I saw a lot of good businesses. So we need more businesses to sponsor programs like this. It helps in education and growing innovation. So those are the two I wanted to spotlight this week.
Great. Councilmember Reddy, anything? Ms. Goforth?
Thing.
Well, if any of you attended the State of the City, I mean, my gosh, if you want to be out of your comfort zone, just do that. So I appreciate everybody, and especially the help in our staff. I mean, it's a heavy lift, and I think it turned out well. Got some positive comments, and
Sitting in the chamber?
yeah, the chamber as well. Yes, great. Yeah, yeah.
Go ahead if you're still.
Well, I just want to announce firefighter paramedic Mark Keller died this past week at the station. Do we have confirmation on funeral yet? Is that still pending?
There's a calendar pop-up right now.
It just popped up, literally,
Okay, what?
May
I did.
15th.
Thursday.
Okay, next Thursday.
10
Time?
a.m.
10 a.m. Okay.
So we'll have to work on that.
Location?
Elliott and
Is it a public hearing?
Ellsworth, I believe, somewhere in that area. It's actually in my district, so we'll
Okay.
need some travel time from the study session. 'Cause
Good.
it's 19 miles.
Mission Community Church.
Okay, so the agenda will reflect the time to allow us to get to the funeral in time and be part of that.
25 minutes.
Okay, great. We'll have a moment of silence for that on Monday's council meeting. With that, Ms. Duff?
Of course, I have to mention my list. Last week, I attended the Fraser Field neighborhood meeting. Thank you to them for having me come out and talk about the city of Mesa. On Friday, I attend a Plug and Play Expo. They have, they're kind of a venture capital startup exhibition. They have locations around the world. They did an expo, and they have a location in Phoenix, and they showcased advanced manufacturing and sustainability. Shamrock Farms, which is a legacy business, was identified there. They have they're, I guess, opening a location in Mesa. I think it's Southeast Mesa, so I'm glad to hear about what they're doing. They're on the cutting edge of food distribution, well beyond their farm products that we know very well, but in providing food to restaurants and such. I attended the Mesa Leadership graduation on Friday. Congratulations to Kelly Whitmore, graduated from the program, and Suzanne Alberts. It was a great event. On Saturday, the Mesa Historic Preservation Board held a celebration for May being Historic Preservation Month. They had a contest with the students from various schools, from elementary all through high school, with arts and essays, fabulous talents and display of their work. I believe it's on display at the Mesa Historical Museum right now, if you'd like to see their work. Thank you to all involved. It was a very successful and exciting event. On Saturday night, that same night, I attended the East Valley Children's Theater Spring Gala and fundraiser. Roaring 20s was the theme, and they had a murder mystery. I hope they ended the event successfully for all that they do. They're an amazing organization. And then we had the Service Award breakfast yesterday for City of Mesa employees. They were celebrating 5 and 10 years with the city. It was a great event at Hohokam Stadium. Thank you to all involved, and congratulations to those who received their awards.
Thank you, Ms. Duff. With that, Mr. Brady, can you give us our events coming up?
Well, I don't want it to be too much of an event, but we'll have a council meeting on Monday, the 12th. We'll start it with a study session at 5:15. Thank you.
Okay, that's it. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Mr. Adams. Thank you, Vice Mayor. All in favor, say aye. 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 Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.